Team Purple.
Team Purple.
Team Purple.
So welcome to the fan animation panel. Actually, you're supposed to be introducing us.
Yeah, aren't you the host?
Yeah.
Am I?
No.
I thought I was on the screen. Alright, well, welcome to the fan animation panel. I'm your host, apparently, Silver Quill. So, to my left is Minty Root.
Hello.
Minty, why don't you tell us about some of the things you've done in Le Panel?
I've worked on a couple of things like Missing Out, Luna's Determination, The Beginning of Harmony, Good Morning Baltimore, and a couple of other cool things that I'll be showing tonight.
And to my right are animators who need no introduction. So, moving on. Now, here we have Argo David.
Hello, yeah, I'm an assistant animator. I've been doing this for about a decade. I've made Remembrance, Luna's Banishment, Leaving Stable, and then I'm on Anthology. I've done quite a few shorts since Anthology 5.
Excellent. And next up, we have Brown Dance Party.
Yeah. Hi, for anybody that doesn't know who I am, I did music videos, custom animated music videos way back in the day. Working with some ancient musicians such as Living Tombstone, Wooden Toaster, Mike the Mike.
And last but certainly not least, we have ACLP Pills.
Hello everyone, I am ACLP Films. Of course, I am, just like what Argo is, I'm also an SFM animator who does mostly her content. I do like music videos, comedy and stuff. Yeah, I've been known for making the Squid Game MOP edition, and yeah, pretty much an SFM animator.
Not to mention, second only to myself in terms of bling. But with a really killer mask, too.
The hat's the best part.
The hat is the
Gonna
best
happen.
part.
It's
I
much
did-
better lady.
You're gonna have to tell me where you got it.
Lights up.
Oh my god!
It
Wow.
does.
The student has become the teacher.
Can you like Doom on this hat?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's always more glowy, more glow up now, obviously.
So what you have here is a collection of talented animators from across the fandom who using different mediums. Like we mentioned, Source Filmmaker, which is introduced around the time TF2 was big. Well, it was big, still is. And it's a very popular model, but truth is I don't know the full history of Source Filmmaker. Meanwhile, I know I've received some coaching from Minty on Toon Boom Harmony, which is right now an industry standard in terms of animation. And Minty has exceptional experience working on various projects.
Yes, would you like to see a preview of something I've done in Toon Boom Harmony?
Yeah.
Let's hope I don't get it.
I also applaud your choice in desktop ponies.
You see it?
So, a little disclaimer, the music is not final, but everything else should be. It's something I've been working on since last project I worked on last year. It's been a long time. It's not a full showcase of everything I've done because I wanted to just show a good slice of all of it. It's fully rendered, a lot of ray tracing, a lot of rendering, a lot of compositing. It's a good idea of what to expect for the final product. So I hope you enjoy, and I think the sound should be working. In 3, 2, 1.
Just got working in Carlo Weather Control.
combination of 2D and 3D elements.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of people think of them as enemies, but I'm pretty sure it's something that we should be able to combine both strength of both. Just the idea that we had 3D sets with lots of range in terms of camera motion. Just the idea that it could change the position while during the shot of the camera was incredible. And yet the aesthetic appeal of 2D ponies is incredible. The expression you can give with their eyes is amazing. It's really a struggle to make it work with 3D. So just being able to combine both strengths of both like this is incredible.
You do realize we're hosting the 2D versus 3D tomorrow.
Yeah.
Versus is kind of critical there. Here. What's this bipartisanship?
The conflict is starting tonight.
It started years ago.
It started years ago.
I blame Disney for that.
Now, Arco, can you tell us a little bit about Source Filmmaker and the process of your animations? Because I can tell you, I play the unicorn from hell, Can't Stop the Magic video several times during the week.
So Source Filmmaker, you said you didn't really know the history. So I can't remember the year that started. Does anybody know the name KP Shadow Swirl? Like, probably everybody that actually is an SFM animator knows. This was the first made the models. But you probably know Naka. Have you heard that name? Wow, it's like old schoolers or something. No, so all the models went through various iterations, but it was in 2013 that the KP Shadow Swirl models popped up. But it was really around that time too that Naka upgraded them to a much more detailed format that exploded in 2013. That's where you started seeing, remember Brexus? Nightmare Nights 1, like that was where all those started popping up, because before that, if you don't have the animator can't make anything if you don't have the resources. But SFM is more like a game than an animation software. So when you're using it, you're playing with a game engine.
Yeah.
And so you have some limitations that come with that. We also have the strengths, which is boom, you're done. Like it's super quick, it's easy. It just has it has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
32-bit era.
Yeah, 32.
I don't know.
So low, 32 is low.
I've seen Purple Smart's How It Feels to Play TF2 videos and all the oddities that go with that. So
Yeah.
what do you do when suddenly your character's mouth is reaching from here to the end of the hole?
Call that a short.
It certainly doesn't look it.
No, SFM has its problems, but I enjoy that it's quick and easy and it's fast.
Yeah.
And really, you can jump into it and immediately jump. You open up Blender, and you've never done anything like that before, you'll just say nope and close it. SFM's not too difficult to get into. Everything's pretty intuitive.
Yeah,
and it's easy to get into.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the stuff that goes wrong though that's funny. Crashing's not funny,
No.
but all the rest of it can be pretty funny.
And PvP, because I don't have enough breath left in me for your full name.
Nobody does.
You said you made music videos, past tense. What are you working on right now?
Well, I mean, I'm still making one more.
Good.
You know, so, but, sadly I don't have a preview right now, sorry.
But off with his head.
So, yes.
In After Effects.
But yeah, After Effects is the one that I actually use, which, at the beginning of the fandom, it was really controversial because, it was all done in Flash. So I said, nah, I don't like Flash. And that was it.
Okay.
I know it's weird, but I was just like,
Well, nowadays they hate Flash.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
Yeah, now everybody hates Flash, so
Yeah. What's
But
like? Come on.
yeah, After Effects is a unique one. I don't recommend to the animators because I say just go to Team Boom Harmonies. It's much better.
Well,
much more.
in the case of
Yeah.
in the case of the video I showed, I actually used After Effects for the compositing.
Well, yeah,
So
for
it's
compositing.
actually- Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
great
just
for
skip
that.
the middleman in your case, and it's true in your
Oh,
case
it's
you
all right.
have a lot more. It's a lot more hands-on because everything is in the same software. So if you realize at some point that you look at a character and you realize the hoof is a bit too high for a scene, you can just go back in the comp and just change it a bit, and that's it. In my case, I need to go back into the Toon Boom composition, go back to the animation, fix it, re-render, reopen After Effects, re-render, and then put it back in the editing. It's a lot more steps. So in a lot of cases, you just ignore it and just say, it's good enough for people.
It's good enough.
And then you
That's
forget
the
to
phrase right
fix
there.
it.
Now, with After Effects, I've had a chance to work in that at least a little bit with review videos. videos.
Yeah.
I'm curious, for those who haven't worked with After Effects, there are ways that you can animate, say, you have a character raise their arm, but then say their hand is on another layer, you have to make sure they're connected. Some folks use a little flip tool, it's just drawing a line between the two to make them connect. Or there are expressions, it's almost like a mathematical code. Which do you like to prefer when given options?
So, like right now, or way back when? Because currently, expressions I've been getting into like crazy, and holy crap.
Express yourself.
Yeah, express yourself. It's pretty much like, I think it's action script. I think that's the code, yeah. But that really opens up a number of doors that you really can't, do with just the web tool,
Oh, I get
or
you.
whatever,
I get you. For an example of that, if I try to draw my Silver Quill character to imply walking, because I haven't yet made a full walking, I just have him bounce up and down while he's moving. That would be telling the computer, wiggle on the y-axis this many wiggles per second.
Yeah.
So I'm betting you remember a lot more action scripts than I. Or do you have like a list handy?
I mean, of course I have a document that is just a giant copy paste.
I don't feel so
So,
stupid.
yeah, and it definitely is one where I will have to look up tutorials and listen to some 12-year-old tell me how to do one small thing in After Effects, and, but, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And AC, you are also work with, like you say, source TF2 source engine or source filming. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, I have olive. Those push-ups are catching up with me.
Yeah.
But how would you say your style of editing might differ in tackling a project as opposed to Argo?
The way I style my animations, just more of I always have to have a time consuming and just how much creativity I can use in using because usually I just use you could definitely use a storyboard when using to get what you want for the vision, but usually I use my vision or my brain to figure out how they actually, because sometimes storyboards can take a long time just to get them finalized, and pretty much, and usually definitely would always have to do a lot of lighting, because I'm using very simple lighting. It's just kind of simple, but the more lighting you can put, it's just gonna make it look intense and epic. So I do more of the lighting and more of definitely the camera angles, just mostly doing some epic stuff for some of the films.
It's interesting you mentioned storyboard. I was having some conversation with friends last night, and this became an important topic. We're going to go down like, how would you define a storyboard?
Well, the storyboard needs to be, a lot of people look at it as a comic book. You try to just draw that explains what it's going to look like in the frame. A lot of it is just describing what's happening. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's really just a rough drawing of what's in the frame and directions for the elements. Unfortunately, there's a lot of storyboard artists who are basically pushed to try to make as many details as possible in the productions, and they're pushed to basically become animators on those productions because they're asked to do way too many frames. Personally, when I recommend starting a project, I recommend don't go too much in depth. It can just be a circle and a little cross that shows where the pony is looking, and that's it. Sometimes you can just, in some cases, what I would do, I would just take vectors from DeviantArt and just put it on the part of the screen and just slide it, and just say, like, this is what it's gonna look like, and that's it. It doesn't need to be more complex than that. It just, as long as you carry the context of what's going to happen, and the person who looks at it will understand, that's good.
Although, shock and awe, we have just learned that he uses DeviantArt vectors. Everyone gasp.
Yes. No, I do not use AI. I have a conscience.
Argo, what would you add to your thoughts on a storyboard?
Yeah, the idea of a storyboard is so you have a plan, and you know what you're supposed to do when, so otherwise you'll just have a scattered mess in the end. The one nice thing with 3D though is you can kind of just maker storyboard in the software. If I'm trying to make something with a story, I'll actually just start cutting the shots and like, you say a vector, I'll just load in the model and it might just slide or something. And I can get the full vision of what I'm doing. I can change all the angles, because once you start actually putting work into something, you don't want to change the camera, because now it changes what the animation might have to be, who's animated, what the background's going to be. Save all that work at the beginning. Because even if they're sliding, you know what it's going to be in your head. You know what you're capable of. And so then after the storyboard is done, all you're going to do is fill in those blanks.
Yeah.
So for some people might want a more detailed storyboard for themselves. Some might want a more simple. It's all up to you, because it's your map. So if you need a little more detail there to see if that's what'll work or not, put that extra little bit of detail. That's kind of what I almost storyboard everything to some degree. Because yeah, don't start work if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, yes.
I remember I had a conversation with a friend who was talking to me about the scene he was working on with a character walking, and he showed me the storyboard and all, and he was asking like, how am I gonna handle the legs? And eventually it just dawned on me like, where are the legs? And he said, well, outside of the frame. And I was thinking like, don't animate them.
I had a shot that I showed once, and it was Little Pip walking down the stairs in one of my videos. And if you actually watch it when it's backed up, like she's sliding across the ground, but the moment the leg enters the shot, then it starts animating. And so it's like this weird moment of a sliding horse, then just like this like amorphous thing moving. But in the frame is perfectly fine. Don't do the work if you don't. It's not gonna get on camera.
Yeah.
We'll get to questions in just a second. I want to hear everyone's thoughts on storyboarding. Then.
Okay, I guess for me, storyboarding is actually really helpful in timing stuff out and getting a good game plan going, because
You do a lot of music, which is
yeah, there's a lot, like, one of the big things that one of the things that I use the storyboard now for is to figure out the flow of the shots. How is everything established? Like, is there an establishing shot at all? Or, how does the scene flows? How does it connect to other shots or scenes? And yeah, it's really good on timing and figuring out just the beat for beat what's gonna happen.
Gotcha.
That's what I mean.
Beat for beat. How about you, AC?
For the storyboard, usually I just follow like an outline or what the sequence will actually look like when animating. So yeah, I always have to use like what's on the outline or what's on the script, which is also important when it comes to animating the dialogues, the script. So yeah, I always have to get a vision on what, because storyboards are very important, especially the transcripts, so so that they would understand how it actually works. What is used on the transcript, basically.
Yeah, sometimes we just only do like shot lists. We don't actually go in. It's just more of a shot list describing what's happening, and it's just the rest. Just do it.
But as you're both the person setting up the storyboard and the one animating, there's no communication error to
Yeah,
worry.
right, Jeff.
Oh no, you can communicate with yourself.
Yes.
Yes, that's also very true.
Communication.
Now, I saw a hand earlier, and I believe you have something to show us.
No, I was just a question. Is the person who animated that video of Little Pip playing clarinet very badly, All-Star, in the room?
I am All-Star? I'm not sure.
All-Star.
No,
That's
no.
not mine.
No.
No.
Are you there, All-Star?
I don't
It's
do
me,
can characters.
Silva.
No.
Nope, sorry. I'm afraid All-Star couldn't make it this time.
No, the person
Fell asleep.
who animated Little Pip playing All-Star.
Oh, I misunderstood, sorry. I don't think that person is present.
No.
No.
Talking about animation, I think AC wanted to show something.
But I have to get that ready.
All right, it's plugged. So what's the name of the file?
Give me a second.
In the meantime, I'm curious, let's start with the Brony Dance Party. What made you want to animate?
Okay, so I just remember really early on in fandom discovering Alex S. He made a remix of Toplastis. And then I saw the Pinkie Pie remix video of like 20% Cooler. And I just immediately fell into that rabbit hole of like all these musicians. And I don't know why, I just wanted to make a video of that, and that was it.
That's good.
Because I noticed this humongous influx of these, songs coming out about this one show that I never heard of.
Nice.
So, got it.
I have a feeling you should hang on to this for this.
Oh, it's nightmare.
Folks, I hear a lot of conversations, which I appreciate for generating discussion, but if you want to talk things out, it's better to move out in the hallway. Because well, first off, I want to hear Argo's introduction to animation.
Oh, what got me into it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like in two parts. So because SFM is kind of that game engine, a lot of what I use is information from like modding from a while ago, knowing how Source works and all that. So I had a background on that, and when I got into the pony part of things, I wanted to contribute in some way, but I can't draw a circle, let alone a horse. So I had no idea what to do, but it was, I was seeing a lot of these, like the animated community, there was when SFM was starting to pop up, and there was somebody named Tuhino. It's like, this is super old days. He was one of the people that made it. It was a derpy preview of the Naka models from years ago. He was the one that I saw some of the stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And so I took them as an inspiration and just started making some simple stuff, copying some art. But it was just mainly that everybody was making cool things and I wanted to have an output. And I've always wanted to like having a creative output. I've just never stuck around with one this long. So, but even before then, I used to make little home videos and everything, and all of that knowledge just helped coalesce together.
Nice, so passion and creativity call out to passion and creativity.
Any type of creativity helps build on any other type of creativity.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Now, AC and Minty, I want to hear you two got into this, but we also have a very shiny floor.
Hey, that looks familiar.
I'll explain this here before we play this. So yeah, this is a work in progress, so it's just a preview, so there will definitely be some reshoots and a lot of things I had to adjust. So basically, who have watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? You should go check it out, it's the best, basically. Yeah, so it's, I don't know if you watch one of the Five Nights at Pinky's SFM, yeah, basically it's based on that. And that got me the idea right after that movie got released. It's just, yeah, I would say it's very amazing. So I came up with a 4-minute video, which is, yeah, like I said, work in progress. There will be changes on this once I upload this on YouTube. So yeah, so we're here watching the Five Nights at Pinky's, what do you call this? Equestria After Dark. All right, Minty, good start.
3, 2, 1, go.
And be aware there might be some intense moments or some little bit of jump scare.
I want to record a message for you to help
still work in progress. A lot of all these particles and lightings I've used, and yes, like what I said, I have to deal with a lot of the crashing, of course, 32-bit, of course. So I've never done this. I used to be part of that fandom before I actually left. Now it feels like I want to come back to it, and then yeah. So yeah, thank you.
Well, I have to say, one, that looks amazing. Two, still better workplace than Walmart. So, AC, following up on that, how did you get into animation?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna explain. It all started. Actually, I did animation when I was in college. When I was in third year college in the Philippines. It was my part of the course. Multimedia arts is my course. So yeah, I've been into animation because I mostly do photography and stuff. But when COVID hits in April 2020, that's when I had nothing to do. So I decided to create my YouTube account, ACLP Films. I was looking at, like what I said, I've been in the fandom since 2018. I've looked at one of SFM animations, first it came up with Argo. And yeah, I was looking at one of his tutorials and stuff. And I got using that as a hobby to figure out how am I gonna animate? What content am I gonna actually make or actually gonna show? So yeah, I look at one of Argo's videos, and then yeah, I started up making my first SFM skit, which is September of 2020, which I do more of Marvel and Sonic before. But then when I make an MOP video, I was like, wait, why is my video blowing up whenever I make an MOP video, but not the other fandoms? And I was like, okay, maybe this should be the time to actually make MOP content and stuff. So then, yeah, 2021, I created which I used to do POV videos before, but then, yeah, times have changed. And yeah, I've been focusing on the MOP SFM, which I usually use download from the Steam Workshop, and Pony SFM, where most of them are actually on the website ponysfm.com. So yeah, basically SFM was going to be easy because I had to upgrade a laptop and stuff, and then I've been doing a lot of SFM. It's been getting attention. When then Squid Game blows up, I was like, wait, should I go to a convention? And that's when I went to BabsCon. That's when I first met these guys here. But then, surprisingly, it's been a great journey because it's been 1 year in the convention, and I can't believe because I already got the 100K subs in 3 years. So yeah, SFM has been part of my journey. It really helps me, and hopefully to make more and learn a lot in the future. Yeah.
Ninty, your history as well.
Oh, my history is weird. I did start doing animation before the Pony fandom, around 2008. I started myself doing a sprite animation, and sprite animation, the whole idea is that you use basically the video game pictures you have with old 2D video games. You simply cut them out and try to make animation out of alternating them in Flash. A lot of people use that to make parodies of video games. Some of them would be very ambitious, doing incredible action scenes. And of course, when I saw the incredible action scenes, I thought like, I want to do something like that. And eventually realized like, I'm not that good at action scenes. I want to do some more interesting things, but I couldn't really do anything that was outside sprites because I couldn't really draw too well. Until I discovered Melty and how I found out that the show was also animated in Flash. And I thought to myself, like, I should actually give it a try. It was around when Double Rain Boom was before its release. They were fun giving some rigs to people for them to experiment with them. And I thought, like, I should give it a try. And I started giving it a try and eventually building my own rigs, coming up with lots of things and learning along the way. And I learned a lot since. Eventually I moved to Toon Boom when I realized that Flash was pretty good, but it has a lot of limitations that was hitting and hurting my vision. And since then I'm a Toon Boom 2D and 3D animator, doing a lot of cool projects. So.
Good with a lot of limitations. That is actually a Flash Century Stadium profile.
This guy.
That's a joke. I tried. So,
You would have been great at the joke lineup at the cosplay contest earlier.
Well, the only cosplay I have is a weird YouTuber. So.
Well, you play the part so great.
You're cosplaying me?
I'm cosplay the world. But anyway, you guys have all heard me gabbing, asking the questions. I want to make sure we open the floor to all of you and hear questions you might have. But I really want to echo what Minty said, that, well, why not do it? That's the ultimate question. It's something new and maybe intimidating. You might think, oh, I can't do what these other folks do. Everybody starts off with, well, I can do it. It's just gonna, and you go from there, bit by bit. So I hope there's one good thing to take away from this. Spy!
Where do you get the motivation?
That's a very common question.
Yeah.
And it's not it's not like, don't think like we're out here and like, yeah, we're all super motivated. No, no, we're not. I'll be like, at night I'm like, I'm gonna get up in the morning, I'm gonna get some stuff done, and then I do nothing. Motivation is really hard to come by. It's find the things that you love about something and focus on that, but also it's just figuring out how to start. All motivation is just figuring out the first step. If you can figure out the first step, the rest of them are easy. So a lot of it is for me, if I really want to work on something, I'll just open the software because SFM takes forever to open. So the moment I click it, I'm now dedicated. I took that first step and I'll usually get like suddenly 40 minutes work done. So it's just figure out what your first step is, make it a tradition. Every time I'm gonna go do something, I'm gonna do this first. And it really does help. Also, music.
Yes, music.
Just put it on loud and then do lip syncing and then realize you can't and then you're sad.
Oh, yeah.
But music is a big helper too.
Yes.
Odd question, but does a shortcut on like a desktop help you get to the program like even just 0.01% faster?
The only shortcut I have on my desktop is to shut my computer down. At a timer. Because SFM will be like, it's gonna take 3 hours to render, so I just put a shortcut, I'm like, shut down my computer in 4 hours. So that's the only shortcut I have. No, I do have it on the bottom. I have everything that I normally will use right across the bottom so that it's nice and easy and I can accidentally click it, which is great because then that's accidental motivation.
Yes.
I don't know if you already answered this earlier, being a little late, but when
Okay.
I'm considering a project of my own, but how do you navigate the whole copyright issues with, especially if it's a crossover between multiple genres? I have my own idea and I want to put it out there, but I don't want to get taken down or demonetized or whatever.
Yeah, that's a rough subject.
Yeah,
If that's a.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's just hard to answer.
Yeah, it's tough, because, like, I personally dodged so much from Hasbro because I focused on OCs, original characters, instead of canon characters from the show.
Yes.
So that really helped me, not get destroyed by Hasbro, but.
Yeah.
Fan work is already a pretty gray area. One of the things I recommend is try to avoid intentionally getting yourself in trouble. So avoiding existing footage from the show. If you have to have a scene from the show, try to redo it from scratch. If you have music, to try to get someone from the fandom to try to do it. You might be able to use some lead motives from the show, but not to have to just redo everything like note by note. And to try to make sure that, and one of the things that I would recommend people to avoid is to try to make sure to avoid making it look like it's official. So if you're trying to go for something that's a bit more show style, maybe adding a bit more your own spice to it. So it doesn't look like you're just trying to replicate the show style with your own budget. It also really helps along to make it feel more unique. Just have your own personal touch to it.
Also, one more thing to add on to that. You can put all, protections in place. You still upload that video. You're still gonna get some bogus copyright stuff. So there are some things after you're done with the video that you still have to put like some protections in place with, I don't know, MCN or whatever.
I had somebody send in a copyright hit for mine for wind noise. And I'm like, do you own wind?
I got a claim. I did get a claim from.
I just said no, and it was like, okay.
Their AI system or whatever said that I took some footage from Littlest Pet Shop. I was like, that's not even close.
One of my favorite demonetizations is Twidash I made, and I spent years fighting it, was they said, you do not have permission to use those models. Like, what? I've never been asked that before, and I'm like, can you clarify? Like, you need to get permission to use those models. which ones? There's a lot on there. Yeah, it took 8 years before it was only last year I was able to monetize it, and that was at, I think it's like 20 million views.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I lost a lot on that.
You could have bought a car or something.
It's today it is 80% of the revenue of my channel, that one video.
Let me try to add on. I always have to, whenever you try to put a motto or music, or if you're gonna use no copyright, I always have to give credit. I always have to put in the description or whatever the title. Always give big credit to to the creators, so that they know that it's been used. Mhm.
Demonetized because of wind. That blows. Yes.
Do you have any secret code words to share with us?
What words? Oh, nocturnal.
I got hashtag whoop-horse. Whoop-horse.
Thank you.
And also check hashtag nocturnal.
Nocturnal?
Nocturnal.
Is it nocturnal or nocturnal?
And it's spelled the same way?
I guess I've got hashtag write a story and we wrote a story. You've been very patient.
When you do get the ball rolling in terms of motivation and stuff, how do you keep it from fading out? If, say, you start a project and you're a couple of rings in, or maybe like you put some effort into it, how do you keep focusing on that specific project and not move on to a different?
Well, starting projects is fun, ending them.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot.
It is fun starting.
A lot of it comes from discipline. It's like opening up a bag of chips and not finishing it. Like, it's a pretty jerk move. You have to build up the discipline to keep going with the project you have, and then just fall to the idea of opening up a new project. You also have to keep with the discipline to not fall into doing other things like playing video games. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, tonight I won't play video games, which is, sometimes you deserve that, and you can treat it as an award you can give yourself the weekend, for example. But it's a lot of discipline, and after a while you get used to it. It feels like it's more rewarding to you to get the project done. And once the project is done, you release it, you show it to people. Just the fact that you feel so proud of the result really encourages you to make more stuff, and then the ball keeps rolling. So.
Also, work within your limits. So like if you're learning, don't try to like recreate Avatar. It's gonna get you frustrated and you're gonna stop. Anytime I start anything new, I find the hardest thing that I know it's gonna be in there, and I do that first. Because if I can do that, I know the rest of it's gonna be not difficult. Because there's something called flow. Have you heard that before? And it's about finding the right balance of challenge and ease, to where you feel like you're like on top of the world with things. But if it's too difficult, you're gonna be like, I can't do this. You're gonna be done. But if it's too easy, you're gonna get bored and quit. So it's finding that balance, and you gotta know your limits on that, and knowing where it is that you're gonna be going, so that you're not. And this is advice I don't keep myself. No, don't scope creep. Know where the end of your project is, because if you don't, you're gonna never finish it, because it's gonna keep going forever.
Yeah.
It's a moving goalpost.
Yeah.
I'll get to you. Oh, sorry.
I mean, for me personally, whenever I'm dealing with like a really daunting shot or, just a project, usually it's just one tiny piece at a time. Just focus on that one thing to get it done. Because at a certain point, it's like it just starts feeding itself, and then you get more and more into it, and then suddenly 5 hours later, you're like, whoa, the sun's gone.
It's like getting an achievement in a video game. It's like you're doing one little segment. It's like you're like checkbox done. You're like, ooh, that felt good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, segmenting is really good. I color code my shots because there's something fun about making green.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is have fun. Like, that's it. It's fun. So.
The video game of life.
Thank you.
Yes.
You only get one, but there are no continues. In the blue shirt with the pink band, you had your hand up earlier.
I was gonna say, when y'all were talking about the, what's it called, the storyboarding, one of the things I did, because I'm awful at drawing, was I would pose the character. It's something I also learned in school for animation. So, you pose the character, and each little thing, individual thing, and then you'll do in-betweens, and then that's where you can work off of. If you don't really know how to storyboard, that's an easier way to storyboard.
You're pose to pose.
Yeah, key poses,
Yeah.
But then you run the risk of being called.
I'm a poser.
Oh, whoa. Mr. Shocking Revelations.
I'm so bad at that. Like, I don't do the post. I just grind it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Not thinking out of the way.
Back with the hat?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We got it.
Oh, wait, but, I'm sorry, the fellow behind you.
This guy with the hat.
No, the guy behind you with the hat, that's the other hat. Why is everyone wearing hats?
What's wrong with that?
Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
Where's Amber?
Amber.
Somewhere.
What's going on?
What is it?
A silver, am I missing?
Silvercon.
Hold him down.
Silvercon.
We put you in reflective
Amber
foil
Bond.
just to make sure that wouldn't miss you.
What if I'm a collective hallucination? That would make my taxes so much easier.
Alright.
But yes.
That's what I'm saying. So, how would you feel about AI art being included in animation once the technology gets better enough?
Okay.
You're asking a hard question.
Yep.
That's a hard
Wow.
question.
Well, technology keeps improving. Looking back at some of the limitations I had on previous projects, for example, missing out. One of the limitations I had was more due to budget, but I couldn't do a lot of ray tracing for the sets. A lot of it relied just on shadow maps and an engine called Eevee that's more closer to a video game engine. One of the limitations I couldn't have more than 128 lights in total. And the problem is that you had about 300 houses. And some of the houses, instead of having lights, was just an emissive and just nothing else. And just hope that the screen space reflection would look a bit like it was glowing. It was a limitation, but at first I was thinking like, this just wouldn't work at all. And one of the things I realized eventually was that it just looked perfectly fine. It was a bit stylized, it didn't need to be photoreal. It worked, and I just went with it. And I think part of the thing that date a lot animation, because it's quite interesting with animation, it looks dated, and you don't really say that much of other disciplines with filmmaking. You don't really talk about the acting, feels dated, or the cinematography, or anything else. You look back at the, you're gonna look back more at the visuals with the kind of technical things. What I recommend is to go with something that with a vision that fits what you can do. So for the style with missing out, since the lighting, the environment lighting couldn't do any shadows, so it was a bit glowy. Felt a bit more paint-like. I realized like I should go with something that embraces that painterly look, and just with some textures that felt like we were more painterly, just worked great. Some more colors too, because I realized that something more colorful would be more interesting than something that's right to be photoreal. It also goes, and such as technology, it's also in terms of budget. Sometimes we realize that you can't achieve something very specific with your budget, and you can have something that feels, and in this case, the word I would use for that is not realism, it's more verisimilitude. The idea that it looks like how it should feel like. So if you have something that, for example, you could have a scene where you have two characters on cardboard sets, and if you can get the mood right, people will believe that it's the real thing in their hearts. So I wouldn't worry too much about the technical things if you can get the storyboarding, the storytelling of the animation to work. So
I want to go down the line on this because this is an important thing. AI in video production. What do y'all think?
no.
It's not a great thing, but it's not gonna go away.
Yeah.
So, because there's profit in it. And anything that's that way, if they're gonna move forward, it's gonna be something we're gonna have to figure out. But I think even right now, what happens next week and the week after that and the week after that, I mean, how many, if you would have said 3 years ago, like, oh yeah, AI image generation will take decades. Well, that took like 10 months maybe. So we don't know what it's gonna look like in a year or 2 or 3. And so it's really hard to say what the future will be, what we should see it as, and what we want it to be. But it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep, that part is true. I mean, in its current state right now, I can definitely see it as a set of helpful tools to do little things. But if you're like using it to fully generate certain like shots entirely, get out. You know?
Yeah.
I don't see it. I see it better as helpful tools than a full replacement. you know, but that's the current state. I hope it doesn't change.
Yeah. For those who are using, for those who are using AI, yeah, but then that's just for being lazy. You just need to learn stuff from real people, and basically, yeah, you should definitely real people here, like here, that we're actually talking about. So, yeah, all I can say is just, yeah, don't just use it just entirely, but yeah, not entirely, because that would just make you more lazy and you will not learn too much. And it's not even, and yes, it's not even perfect. So no, yeah.
And AI has its uses. Like if you get a writer's block or a block of some sort, it's great. Like you can give it part of your story and say, give me ideas on how to continue this. And it might give you that like snap, like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then you can take that idea and move forward. That was like originally when ChatGPT popped up, it was the idea of like, it's to help creativity flow. And then it became the creativity. And because why not? But yeah, that was the original intent. I can see benefits in that for sure.
Well, one of the main problems with the AI is mostly just that it's mostly seen as a plagiarism machine, because what you have as an input and what it gives out of it. There's some types of AI that only uses what you give it as the source and nothing else as the data. So in this case, for example, if you give something that just belongs to you and there's nothing else to worry about, then I wouldn't be too worried. One of the examples I can think of is there was an AI that I found to just generate seamless textures out of the pictures he gave. Just needed seamless textures of water foam for just one shot. And it just fed a picture of a water foam I already had, and it just made something that just worked perfectly. I also have, for example, with blenders, that there's AI-based denoising. The only thing it does is just to make it just reduce the amount of noise in the picture, and it just uses frequency analysis, and it just uses some data that it already has, and that's it. So it doesn't really do any plagiarism from anything else, so just automating that step that someone else would have done anyway. So.
Okay, before we continue, I'm hearing a lot of phones making noises. I ask that you please mute them or turn them off. All right, yes, now in the gap with the Centurion.
Yes.
No, I have two questions, if that's all right. So, first one that I was wondering, because all you guys are very talented in what you do, and I was wondering if you guys ever have job opportunities to work in animation as like a full-time job.
I do.
Okay, you do.
I was a CG generalist on the QC team for Scuba Holiday Hunt, which I won't be able to show. And I did work also in the special effects industry for Disney, DC, Marvel, and a couple of other companies. If you've seen Aquaman, I was doing, I worked on the ancient Atlantis sequence of the movie. I worked on the sets for Maleficent and Source of Evil, so I learned a lot of architecture from it that ended up being very helpful at the beginning of Harmony. And right now I can't tell what I'm working on. I'm pretty excited.
How about, have you all been approached?
So, yeah, that is my current job right now, is I'm a motion designer for a company in Indianapolis where we just create content for like 20 different YouTube channels that we own, and pretty much that's what I do. Is I go in and we have a slate of writers that write these videos, and if they have any animation they need done, that's where they come to me. That's it. So, yeah, can't show anything though, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
NDA.
Yeah.
For NDA.
Yes, the non-disclosure agreement is the bane of all.
NDA.
Oh, and then, sorry, for my second question then as well, is since YouTube isn't exactly kind to animators with YouTube Kids and all this other stuff, so all I was wondering is how do you actually deal with that whole situation of YouTube kind of blocking us from being able to be creative, having animations and all this YouTube Kid stuff?
Cross your fingers. So when it comes to animation, there's different ways that you can word things, because the software is it's not always going to know what's there. It's based on the information you provided. So like I stopped marking my videos as film and animation. I put it as comedy now. I don't put certain things in the tag and I keep certain words out of things, because if it's not going to troll your thing and go, oh, it says NLP, pony, and blah, 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 then it's not going to have those little check boxes done. Since I've done that, I went through all my old videos and done it, I've seen a lot less of those come through, but it won't stop it. People can still troll and mark things or whatever. But I mean, if you have like cel-shaded looks on the screen, it could even say like, well, that looks like it's a cartoon. But I don't like when people go and just like have the F word at the beginning, because there are kids that do watch it, and then that's kind of like, okay, that's not good. I don't think that's what we should have. It's like trying to fight the system by like fighting it. It's not the right way of fighting it.
You become the very thing the system is claiming to protect against.
You're not fixing the problem, you're just solving the problem with another problem.
Yeah,
So-
thanks.
But it's something that it's always there, and it's always looming, and it's actually kind of scary, because like you spend 3-4 months working on something, and then, but SM's not, or not SM, YouTube's not just kind to animators in general, because all they want now is 10-minute videos every week. You can't do that as an animator. And now it's like, oh, if it's under a minute, it's short. Well, I don't want to have it vertical. I want to do. So it's a fight.
Yeah.
I'd say that, especially to minute. General rule in video editing is that 1 minute of footage you see is at least an hour of editing that you don't.
Well, at the bare minimum, when it comes to like 3D stuff, I go usually an hour a second. Because just the amount of time to build the scene and do all this other stuff, it can really build up really quickly.
All right, we are 5 minutes from time, so we still got some time for questions, but.
You have any last questions?
Yes, you, sir.
Okay, so I know that there are some content creation threads to ask this other general question, but I'd like to hear your views specifically. There are some idea people that have a lot of ideas, but aren't willing to go through the follow through, because I don't know. I've had a lot of ideas for stories that I haven't been able, or I guess willing to dedicate the time to follow through with them. But for people that just want to develop the skills so that when they are struck with inspiration, they will be able to do something with that inspiration. Do you know of any places to just start developing skills, or what basic content production skills would be most useful to start developing just in preparation for the strike of inspiration? Or would I be able to volunteer to help out with someone else's project in some small capacity?
Because when inspiration strikes, you really want to, like, I want to get this out there. A lot of the difficulty is by the time you're about third way through that one, inspiration strikes again. And then you're like, ooh, then the chasing little rabbits of ideas. But yeah, that's, it's, the more you know about any specific thing, like when I started doing animation stuff, it was the first year I didn't feel comfortable doing any ideas. It was all like learning, because part of experience is muscle memory. It's like, I don't know what buttons I hit anymore. I just go and it happens. So it's so that all of your brain can have that power and that creativity focused on that idea and that going forward and stuff. Because you can have the idea, but then like, what do I do with this? I have no way to do that. If you're gonna write, learning how to write and all the different function of how to write, so that when the idea comes, you know how to structure the idea and do an outline and all that. It's building those initial skills in any area that you're looking at, and then expanding on those so that you spend more of that time just getting it down on paper instead of just struggling, how do I get it out of here? But, yeah. That helps.
So this is your profession. What, for each of you, is a hobby outside of animation?
What's that? What's a hobby? I mean, video games is definitely a good, relaxer for me.
I mostly do photography for like 10 years, and graphic design, motion graphics. That's what I do.
Yeah, to me, it's video games. It's the things that take, because a hobby should be about just pure enjoyment to take you away from everything. And video games, time with friends, just going. Actually, I love thrift shopping, so that's also a good thing. So it's just anything that gets you out somewhere else, because sometimes that's all you need to just get the creative juices back and flowing.
Yeah. I did actually 2 years of electrical engineering before dropping out, and one of the things I do as a hobby is to just learn more things about electronics. And I haven't really done much in terms of integrating with electronics since, but just the fact that I just learned more about it, or just old video game consoles and how they're working, was a great way for me to just just think of something else than animation, even though it's still related to the technology, so it felt good.
Let's see here, we got time for one more question. Yo.
Yeah, what did Doc do?
Whatever it wants. Dog alone.
Good boy.
Very good boy. Oh, great question for this. Oh, just thought it was a quick one. I see the hat topic. Yeah.
I have a question for the man in the blue suit.
Yes.
So you said during your showing of your 5 nights at paintings that you, I saw there and I wanted to know, how did you make those models?
Those models, those are found mostly in the DeviantArt website, which I found, and also in mostly I found them in the DeviantArt from one of the creators. I forgot who made it, but yeah.
Dan Jacobs did?
They might be on PonySFM.com too. That's a whole website dedicated to basically SFM models. Most of the stuff you see in SFM is free download. So,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They all link to DeviantArt.
5 degrees of DeviantArt up here.
Yeah.
Everyone, we are at our time limit and want to thank all these talented animators for sharing their thoughts.
Make this silver.
Yes.
We will see you tomorrow for 2D versus 3D ponies.
We're all gonna yell at
This
each
will
other.
get violent.
Yeah.
You're ready.
And by the way, guys, I'm giving out the Finance and Pinkies poster and autographs.